Ever wondered what really goes through your ex's mind the moment you finally walk away for good? Not the fake "I'm fine" posts on social media or the casual "I don't care" they tell their friends. I'm talking about the raw, unfiltered emotional chaos that hits them when they realize you're actually done. What you're about to discover will shock you, because the truth about what your ex feels when you walk away isn't what you think. Most people believe walking away from an ex is simple. You leave, they move on, end of story. But here's what nobody tells you. Your departure doesn't just leave them missing you. It triggers something far more disturbing, something that shakes them to their core in ways they never saw coming. Because when you finally step away from your ex, you're not just removing yourself from their life, you're shattering an entire reality they built around you. Think about it. Your ex spent months, maybe years, creating a version of you in their mind. Not the real you, but the you they needed you to be. You became their mirror, reflecting back everything they wanted to see about themselves, their relationship, their future. You were their emotional crutch, their validation source, their safety net. And the moment you walk away, that entire construction comes crashing down. Here's where it gets really twisted. Recent psychological research reveals something shocking about breakups. When you leave, your ex doesn't actually miss who you were. They miss who they were when they were with you. They miss the version of themselves that felt worthy, loved, important. Your absence forces them to confront a terrifying question they've been avoiding. Who am I without this person's attention? But that's just the beginning of their emotional spiral. The first thing that hits your ex when you walk away isn't sadness, it's panic. Pure, unfiltered panic. Because suddenly, they've lost control of the narrative. They can't predict your moves, can't manipulate the situation, can't pull you back in with their usual tactics. The power dynamic they thought they understood has completely shifted, and they're left scrambling in the dark. This loss of control triggers something psychologists call emotional dysregulation. Your ex's brain literally goes into overdrive, flooding their system with stress hormones. They start obsessing, checking your social media, asking mutual friends about you, trying desperately to piece together what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're planning next. But here's the kicker. They're not doing this because they love you. They're doing it because they need to feel in control again. What happens next will blow your mind. Your ex begins what researchers call narrative reconstruction. Basically, they start rewriting the entire story of your relationship to make your departure make sense to them. But here's the twisted part. They don't rewrite it to be more accurate. They rewrite it to protect their ego. Some exes will suddenly remember you as the perfect one that got away. They'll romanticize every moment you shared, turn your flaws into endearing quirks, and convince themselves they made the biggest mistake of their life, letting you go. These are the exes who start love bombing you with texts, showing up at your work, promising they've changed. But don't be fooled, this isn't about love. It's about their inability to accept that someone actually walked away from them. Other exes go the complete opposite direction. They'll demonize you, turning you into the villain of their story. Suddenly, you are toxic, manipulative, never really cared. They'll spread rumors, trash talk you to anyone who'll listen, and paint themselves as the victim who barely escaped. This isn't about protecting others from you. It's about protecting their own ego from the truth that they weren't enough to make you stay. But here's what's really happening beneath all this drama. Your ex is experiencing something called attachment disruption. When you walk away, you're not just ending a relationship. You're severing an emotional dependency they didn't even know they had. Your attention, your validation, your presence had become like a drug to them, and now they're going through withdrawal. The symptoms are brutal. Anxiety attacks at random moments, insomnia, obsessive thoughts, mood swings that make their friends avoid them. They might throw themselves into work, rebound relationships, or destructive behaviors, anything to numb the discomfort of facing themselves without you as a buffer. What makes this even more intense is that your ex probably never realized how much they depended on you for their emotional stability. They thought they were independent, self-sufficient, in control. Your departure is like a brutal wake-up call, forcing them to confront the uncomfortable truth. They built their entire sense of self around having you in their orbit. But that's not even the most shocking part of what happens when you walk away. What's about to blow your mind is how your absence literally rewires your ex's brain, creating a psychological phenomenon that's both fascinating and disturbing. Because here's what most people don't understand. When you walk away from your ex, you don't just hurt their feelings, you trigger a neurological crisis that can last for months. Scientists studying breakup psychology discovered something incredible. When you cut off contact with your ex, Their brain treats it like a physical injury. The same neural pathways that activate when you're in actual physical pain light up when they realize you're really gone. But here's the twisted part. Unlike a broken bone that heals, this psychological wound keeps reopening every time they think about you, every time they see something that reminds them of you, every time they check your social media and find nothing. This is why your ex becomes obsessed with getting some kind of reaction from you. Any reaction, they'll text you happy birthday months later, comment on old photos, or even create drama just to force you to acknowledge their existence. It's not because they miss you, it's because their brain is literally craving the neurochemical hit they used to get from your attention. They've become addicted to you, and now they're going through the most brutal withdrawal of their life. But here's where it gets really dark. Your silence, your complete absence becomes more powerful than anything you could say or do. Because silence creates what psychologists call ambiguous loss. Your ex knows you're gone, but they don't know if you're thinking about them, missing them, regretting your decision. This uncertainty becomes absolutely maddening for them. They start creating scenarios in their head. Maybe they're just testing me. Maybe they're waiting for me to fight harder. Maybe they're secretly hoping I'll chase them. These fantasies become their reality because facing the truth that you genuinely don't want them in your life anymore is too devastating for their ego to accept. What happens next is something relationship experts call the bargaining phase, but it's way more manipulative than it sounds. Your ex will try every trick in the book to get you back in their orbit. They'll promise they've changed, claim they're in therapy, swear they finally understand what went wrong. Some will even manufacture crises, fake emergencies, health scares, family drama, anything to get you to break your silence and engage with them again. But here's the psychological truth behind all these desperate attempts. They're not trying to win you back because they love you. They're trying to win back their sense of power and control. Your departure made them feel powerless, and that feeling is eating them alive from the inside. Recent studies on post-breakup behavior reveal something shocking about how exes process rejection. When you walk away, your ex's brain doesn't just focus on what they lost, it becomes obsessed with proving they're still desirable, still worthy, still in control. This is why some exes suddenly become incredibly successful, hit the gym obsessively, or parade new partners around social media. They're not moving on, they're performing for an audience of one. Every achievement, every new relationship, every glow-up post is secretly a message directed at you. They want you to see what you're missing, to regret your decision, to come crawling back. But when you don't react, when you don't even seem to notice, it drives them absolutely insane. Because the worst thing you can do to someone who desperately needs your attention is to act like they don't exist. This is when your ex enters what I call the spiral phase. They start questioning everything about themselves. What did I do wrong? What do they have that I don't? How could they just walk away like I meant nothing? These questions become a mental loop that plays on repeat, creating a level of self-doubt they've probably never experienced before. Some exes become completely consumed by analyzing every moment of your relationship, looking for clues, signs, hidden meanings. They'll remember conversations from months ago, overanalyze your last text messages, even reach out to your friends or family trying to understand your mindset. They become like detectives investigating their own failure, and the evidence they're looking for doesn't exist because the truth is simpler than they want to accept. You chose yourself over them. But here's what's really happening in their psychology during this phase. Your ex is experiencing what researchers call cognitive dissonance. Part of their brain knows the relationship is over, but another part refuses to accept it. This internal conflict creates a mental storm that affects every area of their life. They can't focus at work, they lose interest in hobbies, they push away friends and family who try to help them move on. The most disturbing part, some exes become completely different people during this process. The confident, independent person you once knew transforms into someone needy, desperate, almost unrecognizable. They might start stalking your social media obsessively, driving by places you frequent, or even following you around. This isn't love, it's psychological desperation disguised as romantic pursuit. What your ex doesn't realize is that with every desperate attempt to get your attention, they're actually proving exactly why you walked away in the first place. Their behavior becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, validating every reason you had for leaving. But they can't see this because they're trapped in their own emotional chaos, unable to think clearly or rationally about the situation. The really shocking part comes next, when your ex realizes their tactics aren't working. This is when something truly disturbing happens in their psychology, something that will change how you view breakups forever. Because when your ex finally accepts that you're not coming back, they don't just move on, they enter what psychologists call the reconstruction phase. And what happens during this stage will absolutely shock you. Here's what nobody talks about. When your ex realizes they've lost you for good, they don't experience closure, they experience what researchers call identity fragmentation. Basically, their entire sense of self starts falling apart because so much of who they thought they were was tied up in being your partner, your lover, your person. Without you there to reflect back their desirability, their worth, their importance, they're forced to confront a terrifying void. Who are they when nobody's watching? This is when your ex enters the most dangerous phase of the breakup. Some will spiral into depression, unable to function without the constant validation your relationship provided. Others become reckless, making impulsive decisions, jumping into toxic rebound relationships, or engaging in self-destructive behavior just to feel something other than the emptiness your absence created. But here's where it gets really twisted. Recent psychological studies reveal that some exes develop what's called retroactive jealousy. They become obsessed not just with who you're with now, but with everyone you were ever with before them. They start stalking your past, digging through old photos, reaching out to your previous partners, trying to understand what made those people worthy of your love when they apparently weren't. This isn't about missing you anymore. This is about their ego being so shattered by your departure that they need to prove to themselves that you're somehow flawed, that your judgment can't be trusted, that everyone you've ever chosen was wrong for you. It's a desperate attempt to rewrite history so they don't have to accept that they simply weren't enough to make you stay. What's even more disturbing is how some exes begin to weaponize your absence. They'll use your decision to walk away as proof that you're commitment phobic, emotionally unavailable, or incapable of real love. They spread these narratives to mutual friends, future partners, anyone who'll listen. But here's the psychological truth. They're not trying to warn people about you. They're trying to convince themselves that losing you was actually a blessing in disguise. But not all exes go down this dark path. Some experience what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. Your departure becomes the wake-up call they desperately needed. They start therapy, work on their issues, develop healthier relationship patterns. For these exes, losing you becomes the catalyst for becoming the person they always had the potential to be. Here's what's fascinating. These exes often reach out months or even years later, not to get you back, but to thank you. They realize that your decision to walk away was the greatest gift you could have given them, the gift of being forced to face themselves without the comfort of your presence. They understand that you didn't leave because you didn't love them. You left because you loved yourself more. But here's the most shocking revelation of all. While your ex is going through this entire psychological journey, something equally profound is happening to you. Walking away from your ex doesn't just affect them, it transforms you in ways you probably never expected. Because the moment you choose to leave someone who isn't right for you, you reclaim something powerful, your own narrative. You stop being a character in their story and become the author of your own. You discover strength you didn't know you had, standards you forgot you deserved, dreams you put on hold for someone who couldn't appreciate them. Your ex's desperate attempts to get you back only confirm what you already knew. Deep down, you made the right choice. What's really mind-blowing is how your silence, your absence, your complete indifference to their drama becomes the most powerful statement you could ever make. Without saying a word, you communicate something that no amount of arguing, explaining, or justifying ever could, that you value yourself more than you value their opinion of you. This is why walking away is so traumatic for your ex and so liberating for you. They lose their sense of control, their source of validation, their emotional crutch, but you gain something infinitely more valuable. The knowledge that you don't need anyone else's love to feel complete. The ultimate truth about what your ex feels when you walk away isn't really about them at all. It's about the power you discover when you choose yourself over someone who took you for granted. Their chaos, their desperation, their attempts to win you back are just proof that you were always more valuable than they made you feel. So the next time you wonder if you made the right choice walking away, remember this: their reaction to your absence tells you everything you need to know about why you had to leave. The right person would never make you question your worth. They would never make you feel like walking away was your only option. Your ex's real feelings when you walk away, they're finally experiencing what it feels like to lose something truly irreplaceable. And the beautiful irony is that they only realize your value after you realize your own.